starting off with what you get a generous stuff sack which acts as a pump sack, which is actually really effective. And then obviously you get the mat itself, and you get a small rubber band to pack it away. Now, the pack size here is a realistic pack size. This is exactly how I put it away from my last wild camp. So I didn't spend a huge amount of time compressing it, making it as small as possible. This is just a very natural, easy size you can get it down to. So it's a pretty reasonable pack size, especially given the insulation this mat provides. Taking the mat down from a wild camp is really easy, and the air does come out nice and easy as well. So when you roll it up, the air does squeeze out nice and easily, and you do get a pretty reasonable pack size without too much effort. So some sleep mats, when they come with their own dedicated bag and stuff, can be an absolute nightmare to get back in. I'm very much someone who wants to pack away their gear nice and easy. I don't want to be fighting for ages to try and get it down to absolute tiny thing to get back into the thing. So this massive stuff sack and inflation bag is really useful for that. And if you're only doing an overnighter, you can just kind of fold this any way you can back into your bag. It's not going to be a big problem, and you can always dry it out and roll it properly when you get home. So I could definitely roll this down more compact. I could definitely squeeze a little bit more out of it and stuff, but again, I don't want to be spending too much time. I don't want to have a really unrealistically small sleep mat I go out with and then I struggle to get it back in the bag afterwards. Now, there are actually 4 different variations of this sleep mat, so you can get a standard mummy, a slightly bigger mummy, a standard rectangular and a larger rectangular. So I went for the standard rectangular, which weighs about 580 grams, and I'll pop on screen the exact weight as the mat is today on my kitchen scales to see what the difference is. Now, it retails currently for £104.99 on AliExpress. That's just from a supplier that I found just looking at it today. There are obviously often lots of different suppliers providing exactly the same mat, so you can shop around for the best deal, and they regularly have sales on. With a big sale before Christmas, I managed to get this for £69.51. That included taxes and free delivery. So for under 70 quid, I think I got a really good bargain. But obviously it's not an absolute cheap sleep mat that you might sometimes associate with AliExpress. It is a decent bit of kit with a decent R rating. In terms of the sizes, there is now a big red warning when you're actually visiting this sleep mat, because the sizes that are given are sizes of the mats when they're uninflated. So when they're kind of laid out completely flat. When you inflate them, obviously it lofts up 7 centimetres deep, which pulls the mat in at the ends and the sides. Is completely different. So I've got a tape measure on me today, so we'll inflate this and we'll actually get the true measurements of this medium standard rectangular mat. So the mat itself is just a nice silver heat reflected material on one side, and then a shiny kind of green on the other side. I've inflated this sleep mat 3 times just using a little tiny pump, absolutely no problems at all. I just gave it a couple of puffs with my lungs at the end just to make sure it was nice and firm, and I've inflated it once using the included stuff sack, but we're going to use the stuff sack today. The stuff sack attaches nice and neatly to it, and it's a very generous size, and as there's a little bit of breeze today, you'll see how it works. Just get the air in, squeeze the air out, and it won't take long to inflate like that. I think that was about 6 or so inflations, and it's pretty well inflated now, but I'd normally just give it a couple of extra puffs, because if you use the inflation sack for too long, I find when you get it nice and firm, you do like one final squeeze too much and it sometimes pops off the cap and it lets itself down, which is quite frustrating. So what you may notice is that the inflated mat is not the biggest mat in the world. The width is reasonable, the thickness is reasonable, but the length is not ideal. I find when I'm sleeping on this mat, even my head or my feet are off the end. I'm about 5'11", so I think that might be because of the measurements when I read it on the website was the measurements of it uninflated, and they didn't have that massive warning sign when I bought it. So I should have gone for the longer one, which is only about 40 grams extra in weight, and it's only a couple of quid more. So I wish I'd gone for the longer one, because this one isn't quite long enough for me. So the length on the website for this size is 183 centimetres, but measuring it with a tape measure now, it's inflated, it's actually about 170. So that's a 13 centimetre difference for my measurements, which is massive. If I had that extra 13 centimetres, my feet would probably still be on the bottom. So if you are around my kind of height, sort of 5'11", or around that kind of range, or definitely taller, do order the longer version because it's not much more money and it's only a tiny bit more weight, but it should hopefully keep you on it. But bear in mind, even with the longer version, you will be losing so much distance as well when you inflate it. So yeah, a bit frustrating that they measure it that way, but you live and learn. And width-wise, it's 64 centimetres according to the website. I make it about 60 centimetres. So you're not losing as much in the width, but you are losing a lot at each end. Now, the whole reason I bought this mat was for the R rating, really. The comfort I wasn't so bothered with. I sleep fairly well on standard air mats. But what I really need was a warmer sleep mat for winter. So I bought this, I think probably December in some of the pre-Christmas sales. And I've used it 4 times since. So I've done a couple of quite cold camps, one at above 800 metres in really deep snow. And in previous years, I have really struggled in winter. I tend to sleep quite cold these days. My legs have always been really cold, even with thermals and stuff. I've felt real cold through the ground, even using a couple of sleeping mats doubled up. With this sleep mat, I did buy an underlying foam mat as well from AliExpress. And I've never used it. I've never needed to. This sleep mat has been absolutely brilliant. So I've used it with 2 different sleeping bags. The Rab Summit 900, which is obviously an insanely warm bag, comfort rated at -26. And I've used it with the Cedar Summit Trek 3, which is comfort rated to -5. But I've been in that sleeping bag in about 2-3 degrees in previous years with my X-Bed Sim Ultralight mat, which is about R8 and about 2.7. And I've been cold. I've been feeling the cold through the ground. So I've used the Cedar Summit Trek twice with this one. The other weekend it was probably down to about 2 or 3 degrees and I did not feel the ground at all. It was really warm with that sleeping bag and I didn't use a liner either, and normally I'd use a liner. So I've been really impressed with this mat. The R rating should be accurate because the website makes a big deal of saying how they've actually tested against all the right standards and stuff. So from my experience with this sleep mat, I've been absolutely perfectly warm. I've not felt any coldness from the ground at all, just using it on its own without any other form of insulation. So for 70 quid, it has been a real game changer because I wasn't perhaps the keenest of winter wild campers because I kept feeling the cold. But I've had a couple of really magical camps using this sleep mat. One in particular when I was up just beneath Pen y Fan at about 124 metres in deep snow and waking up to the most amazing sunrise and just the most glorious morning and people up there snowboarding and skiing and stuff. So that's what this kind of sleep mat makes possible. So people always talk about sleep systems and you might think that's a bit of an exaggeration, but no, it really is a real thing. Your sleeping bag, your sleep mat, anything else that you want to keep yourself insulated overnight is really important. And I didn't want to spend a huge amount of money on a sleep mat because I've got quite a few already. But I did want to sleep out more comfortably in winter, which is why I ended up with this one for 70 quid. It's been able to get me out in those kind of cold conditions, and the memories I've made using this sleep mat already are absolutely amazing. So I cannot talk about the long-term durability of the sleep mat. I've only used it 4 times, but it has been on 4 wild camps. On each wild camp, it's been perfectly comfortable. It's been brilliantly warm. It's packed away really easily. The included pump bag and stuff sack works really well, but equally it inflates nicely just using a little air pump as well. The only thing I would do is check very carefully on the lengths on the website, and as I've measured here today, the actual length when inflated is a lot less. So if you're anywhere near my kind of height, just order a long one, take the 40 gram weight hit and a little bit of extra cost and go for the bigger one. I really wish I had, and who knows, I might end up sending this one on if I see it back on sale for the slightly longer one and get the slightly longer one. But even if you do get one that's not quite the right length for you, I have a little foam sit mat which I just use for my head end normally, keep my feet on the end and just have my head built up in the sleeping bag anyway. So it's not been a real problem for me. I've still been absolutely fine and warm and comfortable on camps and stuff. So here it is in action. It's my Cedar Summit Trek 3 sleeping bag. And you'll see that the sleep mat itself is a few inches away from the bottom of the tent. And then a good few inches away from the top. So I would have bought the longer version really if I'd looked at the measurements a little bit more, but it's very comfy, very warm,
Last night was down to about 2 degrees and the sleeping bag's rated to -5. I'm a pretty cold sleeper these days, and I was fine now without putting any additional layers on or any additional thermals and stuff, so yeah, that sleep mat has made a huge difference to my sleep system.
It's actually about 6 degrees today. We're at about 280, 290 metres up here, slight breeze, and it's actually a great thing to take out because it's smaller than that anyway. If you've got an undermat like I've bought today and you just want to sit out, do some time lapses, do some photography and stuff, it's light enough to take in that kind of way, and it just insulates from the ground really well and is really quite comfy to sit on. So it will have a lot of uses, and because it is quite small and light, I can't really see any reason why you wouldn't use this all year round, because it just means that even in summer and stuff you can get away with some really lightweight sleeping bags if you've got this mat. So I don't know, I can see myself using this quite a lot, and hopefully the durability will be good. It obviously doesn't probably have the same kind of warranties and kind of bomb-proof warranties that you get with some of the really expensive brands where they do like lifetime warranties and guarantees and stuff, but you know, you get what you pay for sometimes, and for 70 quid I think this is so far proven a really good bit of kit. But if anything goes wrong, I'll do a follow-up video in due course. But I really don't think there's anything else to say about this sleep mat. I just wanted to give people just my views on it, because I've used it a few times now, and I'm very much someone who tries to camp on a budget as much as possible. And obviously it's more difficult to camp on a budget in winter because you do need better gear. But this sleep mat has provided me with 4 really good camps this winter. One of them in particular just exceptional, just an absolutely amazing experience. And I don't think I would have been comfortable if I didn't have a sleep mat of this kind of R rating. So yeah, if you have been looking at it, just bear in mind the crucial point in this video is that the length, as the website now states in big bold red letters, is different when inflated. So I've measured that for you today. So do bear that in mind, and if you are in any doubt, do order the bigger size that they do, and that goes for the mummy mat as well. So the mummy mat is obviously longer if you order the bigger size, and you will save a little bit of money if you go for the mummy one, but I'm a fan of the rectangular ones because I'm a bit of a side sleeper and I like to move around in my sleep, so that's why I've gone for this one. But anyway, I'm really pleased with this bit of kit. Obviously I paid for it myself. I'm not being sponsored in any way to say it. This is one of those bits of kit I picked up by myself, and I know someone had been sent one, I think, which I did a review of. But yeah, that's my honest experience of this sleep mat so far. I just hope it's going to be durable and reliable, because the warmth and the comfort for 70 quid has been absolutely brilliant, and I've had some great camps and hope to have a few more. Anyway, hope that's been a help to you. If you've got any questions, anything I've not covered or not mentioned, just ask in the comments and I'll get back to you. And yeah, I will see you in the next video.